Hello and welcome to the channel. So if I was starting from scratch in 2023, what would I do? Well, in this video, I'll tell you what I'll be doing. So the first thing I'll do is open up a spreadsheet, go through what my income is, what my expenses are, and I'll just list every single expense I've got. I'll get my bank statement, go through every single expense, whether I'm paying a rent, whether I've got any water bill, gas bill, a monthly gym membership, Netflix subscription, internet bill, phone bill, whatever it is, every single piece of expense, every single month, I'll go through it in a list. Once I've got my total expenses, I'll deduct that from my total income. So the net income that I get every single month, I'll be deducting that. And the main sort of secret here is, well, not secret, but I suppose it's the main success here is ensuring that your income is more than what your expenses are. Common mistake what a lot of people make is they spend an awful lot more than what they earn. So every month they've got a credit card, and then the following month they're trying to pay that credit card off, and they don't really have any tabs on their income. So the main sort of goal here is to ensure that you are keeping a track of what your spending is, and then you could make a list of what you're spending on and you're aware of it. Once you've got the hang of that and you are aware that you can save a few £100s a month, then what you would be doing is putting that to one side. And the first thing you would be doing is having a look and see if you could save up towards an emergency fund. I think that's the main sort of priority if I was starting from scratch. Once I've built an emergency fund, which is of about 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, I really would be looking to get that money and store it in a bank. So it would be a matter of earning measly interest, but it's there. So if I need it, I've got quick access to it. And once I've built that emergency fund, the next stage would be to invest it in some index funds or something that's easily accessible, something that I could do on a monthly basis. You can't invest in property because the entry level is extremely high. You need 25% of a mortgage. You're talking thousands of pounds. With crypto is extremely volatile, and I wouldn't really jump into that as my first sort of investment. I wouldn't really invest in gold because it's more wealth preservation. It's not going to make me a millionaire. Neither is index funds, but with index funds it generally increases in value over time, and over for the long term it's a good investment. You could generally liquidate it a lot sooner than property, and over the long term it's not as volatile as crypto. So if I was to start from scratch, I would definitely firstly start off with checking what my finances are, what I can save every single month. Once I've made a list of that, then I would be looking to build up an emergency fund. Once I've built up a pot of between 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, there's no sort of set rule here. It depends on your own circumstances, whether you've got dependents, whether you've got a spouse, and whether you could potentially, if you were to be made redundant or if something happens, you could potentially borrow money from your spouse, or your income wouldn't take much of a dip because you've got another person to rely upon. So I suppose you could potentially have a lesser amount of emergency fund as opposed to if you were someone who is completely on their own. So once again, it depends on your circumstances. It depends on what you feel comfortable with on the amount that you're looking to save. As long as you've got something, it would keep you going. The issue that a lot of people have, and I had this myself, is that you generally don't know, and you only have, for example, 1 month, and you don't even have anything. Then you could land yourself in a lot of bother, and you'd find it problematic. A lot of people experienced this during COVID, and they realised the importance of an emergency fund when they were getting laid off due to COVID. They were unable to work and so on and so forth. So that's the first sort of priority here. The second thing is, if you're able to save a bit of money, would be to move on to index funds, and then gradually build up towards gold. And once you're able to do that, now if you realize that your expenses are more, then you need to either cut back on your expenses by either seeing if you can reduce your bills, or it would be a matter of finding a way of increasing your income. So that's the thing. If you realize that your income is less than your expenses, then you need to find ways of increasing your income or reducing